Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. We're laughing already because I'm with Alan Lott, who is a presenter on Felixstowe Radio. Now, Felixstowe Radio is on 107.5 FM, and it's our sister company. So, hello, Alan, and thank you so much for coming today.
Hello, Maura. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks
for asking me.
You made me laugh all morning, honestly. And the reason for this is that, Felixstowe Radio and Felixstowe Television are sister companies. And it's great. We want to hear more about the radio and the television here. We want to know all about the presenters.
Slightly worrying.
We've started with Alan because he's brilliant. He's very funny. He's very busy. And he has his own show on Thursday morning. Is it 9 till 10?
9 till 10.
Right.
Yep.
And is it called My Lott?
I think it's Alan Lott on his coffee pot spot. Because halfway through it, at 9:30, I introduce a coffee break.
Oh.
And before it, I have a little a quiz question for them to answer. Then
what sort of quiz? Well, tell our viewers what sort of thing. What would you say?
One of them was who acted in such and such a thing, or what would you call? I can't remember the name of it now. There was one of a part of the body, or what would a
leg?
A leg.
Yeah, there you go. I knew the answer.
What does a phlebotomist do? And all sorts of various completely random questions.
What does a phlebotomist?
Back to the wooden tops. And,
what does a phlebotomist
I think
do?
it's blood, isn't it? I'm not certain to be. I don't remember the answer.
Oh, right. See, I've put him on the spot, haven't I? Isn't that a little unfair of me, isn't it? But sorry. I'll look that up afterwards if I knew how to spell it. Is that a P or an F?
It's a PH.
I just spent half an hour looking under it.
But I do that, then each time I play Java Jive.
What's Java Jive?
I like coffee, I like tea, I like a Java Jive and it likes me. So it's about coffee and tea.
Oh, right.
And originally it was done many years ago, but I play the Manhattan Transfer version. Then after that...
Oh, I know that version.
Yeah?
It's nice.
I like that one.
Very smooth, creamy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Then after that I try and give a fact about tea or coffee, and then give the answer to the quiz.
Are there many facts about tea and coffee?
I was amazed how many facts there were.
Did you know there were many facts about tea and coffee?
Loads of them.
How many, roughly? Well, 10, 15?
I've looked up 100 or more.
No.
Yeah, and still going.
Gosh.
So
you're good to have in a pub quiz.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, as long as coffee or tea's involved.
Yeah.
But one of the things was that at one time it was always thought that you should put the milk in the teacup first.
Yes.
Because of what the cups were made of. If you put very hot water in, it could damage the cups. So
Is that why?
Yeah, so it's to cool it down. But with modern cups and china, you can do it the other way round.
But that's not proper for tea, is it?
Well, I always argue that if you put the milk in first and you don't know how strong the tea is, you could end up with a weak cup of tea. Whereas if you put the tea in first, then put a little drop of milk in, you can get it right by how much milk you put in.
I don't know about you, but I've been brought up that you put milk in first.
Yes, I was
and
as well.
it sounds really weird.
Doing it the wrong way round.
Yes. And it really does feel like you're doing it the wrong way round. But it makes sense, what you're saying.
I like to think so.
Yeah. Do you often make sense?
No, not if I can avoid it.
Now, Alan, how long have you been a presenter?
Felixstowe Radio since June last year.
Gosh, so not that long, because you're one of the very experienced presenters. I know that. That's why I asked Alan to come here, because he's really experienced and good.
Well, I've got some training, got quite a lot of training. I started out by volunteering to work in the music shop.
That fronts the radio, if anybody needs to know. I don't know if you know where the radio is. It's actually in the, what do they call it, the station?
Great Eastern Square.
Great Eastern Square, beside the Co-op, isn't it?
That's it, yeah,
yes.
in the corner.
Yes.
And you can see the music shop at the front, or facing into the square. Then behind it is the office and the studios.
Yes.
And you can see through the studio window if you come from the main road through the entrance and look left.
Right. Have a little look next time you pass.
And if I'm there, do come in and have a chat.
Oh, that's nice.
Always happy to have a chat about musical instruments or anything you want to chat about, really.
Is this when you're working in the shop?
In the shop, yes.
Not when you're on air?
No, not when I'm on air.
Not when it's on air.
You
no.
can't get into me when I'm on air.
Okay, you lock the door?
The doors are locked, yeah.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Well, it's locked because I'm the only one in the place when on my particular show.
Okay.
I'm the only one in there often, so I can't deal with people while I'm speaking on air.
And that's what seems so very different about radio to television. Here on television, we have to work as a team because there's so many different aspects. There's presenting, there's filming, there's recording, there's editing, and it takes a variety of people to do that. But on the radio, you do your complete show yourself, don't you?
Yes.
So does that take you long to do?
Well, I've been working because I do a show this Thursday, and I've been working for about 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, I suppose, for that one show.
And how long's your show?
An hour.
Gosh, that's a lot of work then.
Because what I do, I try and do as much research as I can, because I'm getting known for playing unusual songs that bands aren't thought of.
I was going to ask what is it genre, or would that be the right term to use?
I think so. I mean, I like all sorts of music and play all sorts, but there was a chap, for an example, Robert Johnson, who was alive in the 1930s, and he wrote a lot of blues music.
I love blues music.
It's really good.
Yes.
And he sounds like he's got a lot of guitarists, but it's the way he plays his guitar on his own.
Yes.
And people like Eric Clapton sort
Yeah.
of absolutely worship him. And
Right, and he's good.
he's good.
Yes.
And what they're doing, people like Eric Clapton, Cream and the Rolling Stones have played a lot of his stuff in more recent years.
Oh, is there anything I've recognised that would be his?
Crossroads was one.
Oh, right.
Another one was Love in Vain by the Rolling Stones.
Oh, right.
He wrote that. And the Rolling Stones did it from their viewpoint. And
Right,
with the whole
they
band.
put their take on it.
That's right.
That's why I always loved the Rolling Stones the most, because of their blues association.
Yeah.
But
we
the
used to like
old blues,
Yeah, good stuff. And John Lee Hooker and people
Oh,
like that.
I love John
Muddy
Lee
Waters
Hooker.
and those sort of
Yes.
things, yeah, really good. I really enjoy those.
Oh, right. So do you play the old records?
Both.
And you play the modern versions or
Yeah.
the interpretation?
Yeah. Last week, for example, I did a few. Did some songs that have been the later versions, and this week I'm doing not all of them, but some of the songs by the original artists last week.
Oh, right. Their voices. I mean, John Lee Hooker.
Terrific, isn't it?
It's just stunning.
And I also try and work with local people, local artists.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, there's a band called 29 Palms, or is it 19 Palms? They play locally, and I played a couple of their tracks.
Really?
And Verity Ellen was another woman that sings locally. So
I know her name. Yes.
so I try to include local people as much as I can.
Do they come in to play in the studio,
No,
or you
not
play
for me.
their
I
records?
play their.
Yes.
They sometimes their disc or album of the week or the month rather, and I play them then. But
I really like that, because Felixstowe is an amazing place. I bet you found that.
there's a lot of talent.
Talent here in every field.
Absolutely.
And it's just wonderful to be able to showcase it.
Absolutely.
And you're one of our talents.
Yes.
So what brought you to presenting then?
Well, first of all, as I say, I volunteered to work in the shop. I was walking through the square and saw the music shop and that volunteers were wanted. And I thought, oh, that appeals to me. I'll volunteer for it, which I did, and eventually got taken on to work in the shop. And I was just chatting, and Dawn happened to be there.
Oh, lovely.
And
yeah.
she looked at me, she said, "You've got the right sort of voice for the radio."
Right.
Someone else said I got the right sort of face for the radio.
No, they say that to me. They say that to me.
Which, yeah, they might be right, but
They're absolutely
but I
wrong.
don't care.
Trust me.
But so then I went on Bob Meadows on a Tuesday morning just to get me used to being on air, he has his quiz, and I'd stand outside and answer the quiz questions.
Oh, right.
Then he'd ask me in, and we'd go through them, and I'd see how many I'd got right, and we'd chat on the radio.
Okay.
And Rod got me on the country show in the evening. I also did one with Phil on a Friday evening, where you take along your 3 favourite rock tunes.
Oh, right.
Which we did. And I think Dawn was supposed to be on that evening, but couldn't for one reason or another. So Phil said, would you like to take the seat for the show, which I did. And just having a little chat in between with Phil. So I gradually got used to it like that. And Anne has also been sort of mentor of mine as well.
Oh, she's lovely.
She's very good. Yeah. And
there's some smashing people at the radio, I have to tell you.
really nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Good, they're good friends.
Yes, no, I think that's really brilliant. So, is this from your past? Is presenting or to dealing with music? Is this anything to do with what you've done?
Been a drummer for many, many years.
Have you? And what sort of?
Also, I started off in London actually playing sort of soul music back in the 60s, and did some things like stuff by The Who, My Generation. And
I love drummers, I have to tell you. Wow. You don't look mad enough to be a drummer.
Yeah, I can do.
Can you?
Like Animal and the Muppets.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Then I went to a school that was connected with the forces and learnt to play a side drum there.
I love military music as well.
I enjoy that.
The drums are drums are so important.
They are for keeping the rhythm and everything.
Yes, without a drum you're really lost, aren't you? Wow.
Then I left school and played with a heavy rock band in the time.
Did you?
Yeah.
Hey, wow, he's going up in my street cred here.
we used to do things like Uriah Heep, Deep Purple, that sort of stuff.
Oh, goodness me, yes.
And
ever do any Metallica?
yes, I have done a bit of that.
Enter Sandman?
No.
Oh, my favourite.
No.
Yeah.
But they were a bit before my time, or after my time.
Yes.
Sorry, but
yes.
I still.
Do you still play?
Yes.
In what form?
Well, I play in the church where we came from. There's a church band there.
Where's that?
That's at Lawford, St Mary's Church in Lawford, near Manningtree, the other side of the border in Essex.
Ah, so you've always lived on the Cups, have you?
Yeah.
You're just on and because you're in Felixstowe now, aren't you?
We're actually in Curtin. Just
oh,
outside.
Curtin. Well, I consider it's part of the peninsula. Yes.
And
Curtin's nice as well.
Yeah, we like it there.
Yes, lovely area.
And the vicar, he plays guitar very well. His wife Jill plays the piano. Got another chap, Chris, that plays bass. Myself on drums and 2 flautists.
And where's this? This is back in.
This is in Lawford.
Lawford.
Yeah,
you still play there?
Still go there, yeah.
Wow.
A couple of times a month to do that.
Haven't they grabbed you here?
Not yet, no.
No, do they know about you?
Probably not yet, no.
They do now.
They might do
now. They do now.
Hello,
what church do you go to?
We still go back to Lawford mostly, although Curtin Church is one we've been to.
Right. No, I just wondered what denomination it was.
C of E.
C of E.
Yeah,
so there is obviously a C of E in Curtin.
Yes, yeah.
You heard it here first. Curtin Church, you have talent here.
Making the drumming noises, yeah.
It is, it's wonderful, and as you say, it gives you the beat, and it's very uplifting as well,
Yeah,
I think, drums.
I was surprised when I first played in church, this is some years ago, and several people thought, oh dear, it's going to become a happy clappy church, as they call it, but it hasn't. And they said how much it augments the music if there's got some rhythm behind it.
Yes, it gives it a substance
That's
that you
right.
don't often get
Another
with
dimension.
another. Yes, another dimension.
And we also had a thing they called the Open Door Theatre Company.
Where's that? Is that also?
That was part of the church.
Yes.
And it was the idea of it was to let any children come along, and then we'd put on productions.
Oh,
and they didn't
right.
actually have to be church people. It was just to bring them in and introduce them to the place, really. And we did, and I used to play the drums and percussion for those productions.
Oh, right.
We did one of the more recent ones was Open Door. Jesus Christ Superstar. We did a production of that.
Did you?
Yeah, and we
Oh,
had it all done on
goodness.
DVD and so on. So
Wow, I like that. It was one of my favourite
it was a
musicals.
good show.
So, and you played the drums.
Yeah.
You do some big productions then.
Yeah, and other bits and pieces you could hit or scrape to make the sound effects and noises.
Wonderful. Gosh, you are busy.
Well, yeah, I seem to be. The ODTC has sort of fallen off a bit lately because the last rector did that, the one before Simon.
Right.
But, so his approach is slightly different, but we still have the music, which is good.
Yes, I think it's lovely. I remember many years ago going to my Methodist church and they brought in the same thing, some guitars. And, you know, when you're a teenager yourself, it just lifts it.
It does.
It's really nice.
Some friends of mine at Clapton that are in the Methodist church, and they were talking. It was actually at the Tendring 100 show, and I was on the church. We were in the church stand there, as it were, and he was saying, "I'll have to have you come across and do some drumming for us."
Ah.
And Pat, who was the rector then, looked round and said, "You're not stealing our drummer."
I think he's going to get stolen, don't you? I think Felixstowe needs you.
Oh dear.
Would you mind? I mean, do you enjoy doing it?
Oh, I love doing it, yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to hear you.
And I also play a djembe drum, the African.
Oh,
I started doing that a little while, a couple of years back, yeah.
Are they quite hard? Is that
They've just got their own different way of playing them, yeah.
Lovely sound.
Yeah.
Very lovely. Be on the Irish drums next.
I've got one of those as well.
Have you?
Yeah, one of the bodrum drums.
Yeah, I think they're gorgeous as well. I love drums.
Yeah, I'm very keen on anything that makes a noise when you hit it. Instruments, I mean, not people or animals. That's
If we weren't live, I'd say I think you ought to take that bit out, but I know what you mean.
I wouldn't. No, I'm not like
This
that.
is your sense of humour,
Yeah,
isn't it?
sense
As
of
I
humour.
say, he's had me laughing all morning, so... So, and that's not the only thing you do, is it? I mean, you know, you're retired. So
Yeah.
I'm doing retired.
Yeah.
Because you're working on the radio.
Yeah.
You're helping at your church.
Yeah. I run a men's breakfast every other month.
Where's that?
That's again it's in the church hall. It used to be.
Oh, you're still very associated with your area. You were there a long time.
That way,
were
yeah,
you?
with 23 years.
Oh, it's a long time.
So
yes.
we're sort of ensconced there, as it were. But we're not sorry we moved. We love it where we are, but we still have a bit of a tie back to those sort of things.
Yeah, of course. Of course, they're friends as
And
well.
I can't get
aren't
anyone
they?
else to run it, so
Well, that's it. You become indispensable.
that's the trouble, isn't it? But,
So what happens? What's a men's?
well,
breakfast
we
club?
start at 8:30 in the morning. My wife Sue and the assistant priest, who's non-stipendiary, Paul Mann, lovely chap.
What does non-stipendiary mean?
He's not paid.
Just thank
Doesn't
you.
get a stipend.
Voluntary as
Yeah,
well.
he volunteers
Yes.
as well.
And are you a volunteer
Yes,
in radio?
yes, yeah. All the people.
And everything that you do is
it's
voluntary.
all voluntary. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, everyone at Felixstowe, all the 80-odd volunteers are, as they suggest. Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
volunteered. Nobody
Yeah.
gets.
Same as in the television.
television.
We're all volunteers. And as I always say, we're here to serve Felixstowe
Absolutely.
by Felixstonians.
That's right.
Because Curtin's on the peninsula.
It is.
We're all part of the Felixstowe Peninsula.
It's only 5
and,
minutes away by car, isn't it? to
It
Curtin,
is.
so-
You know, once you get to Curtin, you know you're nearly home.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And my wife, as I say, his wife and my wife prepare the food. We have a cooked breakfast.
Really? Oh,
We
that's
start at,
nice.
well, we get there about between 7 o'clock and 7:30 in the morning to get the food
To
going.
get set
so.
up, gosh.
And then we have a breakfast and we have a guest speaker, and they cover from all sorts. We had the Bishop of Colchester there, Bishop Christopher, who before he
wow.
retired.
Wow.
We had a bank manager there who felt he got promoted beyond his capability and was unsettled by it.
Oh.
We had the captain of a super tanker came and spoke
No.
to us. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now
And
that will be interesting.
That was very interesting because
Yes.
he was an old sea salt, and he'd been in a condition on a boat on the ship I can't remember what they call it, but it can be in a state on a big wave where it can keep going down and under the water.
Oh, where the bow goes under, and then
and don't always come up again if it's a fully laden ship. And he was in that sort of situation.
Gosh.
And he prayed the famous prayer that has been done by others: "If you can get me out of this, Lord, I'll serve you for the rest of my days." And something suddenly happened that made the ship judder and go right. And he's now a congregational minister.
Well, it's quite emotional.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it was really interesting.
That's very interesting.
We've had street pastors come and tell us about what they do. We've had people.
What's a street pastor?
Well, in Colchester, and I don't know, I think they're probably in Ipswich as well. They have people that go out on a Friday and Saturday night when a lot of members of the public get drunk and knocked about, and they go again voluntarily to try and help these people when the police are too busy dealing with other incidents that concern them.
Right.
If they see somebody lying on the ground drunk and unable to do anything, they'll go and try and help them.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to do,
yeah,
and quite dangerous at times, I would think.
Yes, I'd imagine so.
There's a lot of violence in those drunken areas.
I know, I was playing one night in Colchester, drums, and it was a place difficult to park, so my wife dropped me off with the bits I needed and then picked me up afterwards at about 11:30. And it's funny looking back on it. I was standing on what's known as Head Street in Colchester with these cases down between my feet waiting for my wife to come along, and all these blokes, probably the worse for wear, kept going past me and gave me a wide berth. I think they perhaps thought that anyone silly enough to stand there on a Saturday night must be able to handle himself. But, and then she picked me up, I put the stuff in the boot and off we drove, and it was like driving through a minefield with people lying in the road and people shoving each other out in front of cars. And I don't think it's much better now sometimes on a Saturday night.
Right, so not a place to go if you don't have to.
If you don't know, I tend to not drive through the town if I have to come back. I go around it on a Saturday. Okay, other nights, but yeah. And we had people from Gideon's, the ones that leave the Bibles in.
Oh yes, yes.
So, yeah.
Oh gosh, you've had
We
quite
met some
a variety.
quite interesting people, yeah.
But everything that you're talking about is, you know, your faith is very important.
It is.
In everything that you do.
It is, yes.
And
try and bring that across to others as well, if I can.
Yes. Well, you're a good man, and I think that comes across.
Very nice of you to say so.
With a good sense of humour too,
I think
which
that's
is lovely.
important.
It is. Does this come across in your show?
I
do
try
you
to make
think?
it come across, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that become part of your show?
I think so. I'm known to have a sense of humour.
Yes, I can imagine.
A chap I used to work with, Jim, he looked at me once and said, over his glasses, he said, "I think your brain ought to be left to science to find out what makes it tick inside."
You take that as a big compliment.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
yes.
would.
Yeah, I think it was meant as one.
Oh, that's nice. So it sounds like you've got a really good life, a very busy life.
Yes.
Are you planning to do any more? Do you want to come and help us on the TV?
Well, things keep happening all the time. They come along, and if I've got time to do them, I'll do them. Have to balance it a bit with home life.
Yes.
Because we're decorating and doing all sorts of bits and pieces in the house and the garden. Having been there 18 months, we're...
Oh, it takes a while, doesn't it, to move in? I've just moved in Felixstowe in Wharton, and everything takes time, doesn't it?
Well, we left it a year or so to start because we thought we'd rush in and do things we think we need and then find out you don't really need them after all. Right. Could have been done a better way, with it, hindsight being a wonderful gift.
Isn't it just? Yes. But a lovely place to live, isn't it?
Yeah, we like it very, and we've got lovely neighbours there actually in Curtin.
And it's beautiful in Curtin.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
But I like all of Felixstowe,
I do.
actually. I think it's...
One thing we have found, we always used to find, but found it more since we moved here, people in Felixstowe seem to have time for you.
Yes.
If you go into a shop, they never seem keen to rush you out, and thank you people in Felixstowe for that. It's nice to go to somewhere where you you don't feel as if life's on an express train all the time. You can.
That's why I moved here as
Relax
well.
a
I
bit.
just loved it, and people are kind.
Yeah.
They're nice people,
Yeah, they
and they
are.
give you the time
Absolutely.
to be nice, and
right.
it's lovely. I wouldn't live anywhere else now, and I've lived in a few different places.
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
have,
about you,
Yeah,
but I love it here.
thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely the jewel in the crown of Suffolk.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit hidden as well. Not many people. When I moved to Felixstowe, people went, "Where? You know who?" But as soon as they visit,
Yeah.
as
they
soon as
understand
they've
why.
been here, they're hooked.
Yeah.
It's got that effect. I think that's why we have people all over the world watching us on
Yes.
Felixstowe television, because we're an internet television. Because if you've been here, you remember it.
Absolutely.
You
yeah.
want to touch base with it because it is a special place.
We have people on the radio send in messages from all sorts of distant parts.
Yeah,
For the same
and the
reason.
radio as well.
On the radio,
yes.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful that we're associated like this with the
Absolutely.
radio, and I think great things will come as
Yeah.
we move on.
Makes sense, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does. It does. You make a great TV presenter.
Do you think, oh dear,
It's all right. I'm just.
she's working on me now.
I'm working. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this.
And me too.
Yes, thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it too. And gives you a little insight into the radio as well as the television. And if you've got any comments, we'd love to hear from you. We'll put our number up at the end. Just let us know what you think, or find us on Facebook. We've got our Facebook site, and just leave us a message. Because as I say, we're all volunteers,
Absolutely.
and we're all here for Felixstowe. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you, Alan, for
Thank
coming.
you.
It's been lovely. Mwah.
Thanks
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
And thank you, Felixstowe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.